Welcome back, Photoshoppers. It is I, Mark Elmo Ellis with PhotoshopTrainingForum.com, where we teach you how to clearly and concisely use Adobe Photoshop. Today we're going to learn how to use selection tools. And as normal, you're going to go into your little Adobe icon. You're going to click on it a couple times. It's going to come up to this page here, and we are going to use Adobe Bridge to select a picture. So click the little icon up here. Once Adobe Bridge has opened up, you can go ahead and select the picture of your choice. I like picking this picture because it has a lot of flaws in it, and as we work through all of these selection tools and different devices of Photoshop, I'm going to be upgrading this picture. So I get two things done at once here. Okay, in your toolbar, you'll notice that there is a second icon down. These are geometric selection tools here. And what I mean by geometric, of course, they are the usual rectangular marquee tool, elliptical marquee tool, single row marquee tool, and single column marquee tool. And basically that's pretty easy. The first two are the ones you're mostly going to use. Of course, the rectangular marquee tool selects a rectangle area, and the elliptical marquee tool selects an oval-like area, as you can see here. And whenever you're done dragging and clicking, you will notice that on the selection tools you will always have your little ants marching around here, or your little dashing lines that are flashing here. That lets you know what area has been selected. Whenever you select an area, you can always get out of it very easy by going up to Select, Deselect, or you can hit Control D. I always like to try to learn how to use the letters Control D because it just makes it so much easier as you're going through this. The more you use Photoshop, the better you'll get at it. Now the bottom two marquee selection tools here that we have, you have the single row marquee tool and the single column marquee tool that are down there. And this one's horizontal, of course this is vertical. And this is used so you can only select one pixel. So you'll only be selecting one pixel at a time. As you noticed, I clicked cut, and there it shows I have cut that out. Now I want to jump back because I don't want to do that to my picture, but it shows you what that does. It selects one pixel at a time, makes it real easy if you have a line or something that needs to be taken out. And Control D, which is what? Deselect, right? Okay, we deselected that again. Now the other selection tools that are right underneath the geometric selection tools are the freehand selection tools, and of course the most popular one is the lasso tool. And basically what you do is you hold down your left mouse button and you can drag it around until you come back to your original point and you let go of it. Anytime when you're using Photoshop and you want to draw a different line, just start in a different place, the old one will go away and you can select a new one just like that. But if you want to select more than one place, here's a little trick for you. If you want to select more than one place, hold down your Shift key and you'll notice on here that there's a little plus sign that comes out. See the plus sign there? That means you could also select that and also select this. As long as you're holding down the Shift key, you can do that. Anytime you want to get rid of all of these, what are you going to do? Control D, and they're all gone. All right, so that's what the lasso tool does. The polyagonal selection tool will allow you to click on straight segments. It draws straight segments as you're going. So you won't be holding down the mouse button and dragging it like you did with the lasso tool, because it won't work. You just click, drag across without holding down the button, click, drag across without holding down the button, click, and then you always try to go back to your point of origin. What you'll notice on here, there's a little circle that comes up when you connect. You can barely see it on here. But even if you don't, and you do this, and you stop there, you can hit enter, it'll connect it somehow. It will go from the last point that you put down to the first point you did automatically. And once again, we're going to hold down Control D, and that gets rid of that. Control D is great. Okay, one other way of selecting is what is known as the edge-based selection. And these two devices are known as edge-based selector tools. Okay, this is the quick selector tool, and this is really useful because what you can do with the quick selector tool, I want you to notice up here in your options bar that there is a couple of things that you'll see here. First one is a new selection, the next one is add to selection, and the other one is a subtract from selection. Let's do the add to selection. Now whenever you start clicking and holding down your mouse button, watch what happens. It starts selecting automatically edges of things. And if you don't want a certain thing selected, let's say we wanted to get his ear in here also, go up and hit the negative, hold down the mouse button and drag it along there a little bit, and you'll notice it's going off of his ear. See, like that. So that's really a useful tool to have. Usually it's going off of edges that it's finding on the picture, like that. See, I just kind of dragged it a little bit. And every time you go into a certain area, with this one, you don't have to hold down the shift key. You just kind of keep dragging and holding and dragging and holding and selecting different things. This is really a useful tool. It makes your selecting process much quicker. Control D. We're going to get rid of it. Okay. Now, another way of doing this is the Magic Wand tool. Now, the Magic Wand tool is based on a tolerance level. In other words, tolerance is very low at 10 down to about 0 up to about 30. If you have a high tolerance like a 60 or above, let's do a 90 to show you what I mean. Okay, and 100 I think is the top you can go to. Okay, so the lower the number, the less tolerance, or in other words, the less thing it's going to grab. Now I've got it at about 90. So if I click on anything, and as a matter of fact, this is a color-based tool. It's selecting colors that are similar. Okay, so I'm going to select this color here, and I hit it at 90% up here, right? So everything that's similar in color, it's grabbing for some reason. These pants and so forth. All right, Control D. But let's lower that. Let's go down to where we were before, 10%. Now watch, it'll grab a lot less. See that? And in this case, you'll notice there's a lot of little spots in there. It won't select those unless you hold down your shift key and click on those areas. And I keep clicking on these little areas. And then finally, I've got exactly what I want selected. Now there is another way of selecting similar colors. You go up here to Select, and you'll see this menu open up. I like to use the Select Similar button. So anything that's kind of similar, like these pants and so forth, they'll be added on into your selection. And I don't use this so much to hit the cut button and just take all this stuff out, That's not necessarily what I do with this. What I usually do, let's say for example I want to change a color. Now these are already selected. I want to change a color, and so I want to make things green. Right? I can color right inside of that without getting on the rest of this. Okay? Anything that's like that. Let's say I want their pants that color. Okay? But I don't necessarily want to get the skin color that color because this is, I'm just painting clothes now. So you can see the idea, the advantage of this. So that's how the selection tools work. We're going to be getting into a lot more about how they work and what they can do for you. As we go on, we're going to go into each one more specifically in the next level of how to use Adobe Photoshop. Once again, this has been Mark Elmo Ellis with PhotoshopTrainingForum.com, where we show you how to clearly and concisely use Adobe Photoshop. God bless and have a great day.